Xianxia gave 10 million holy stone to Xianxia and Linger. These 10 million caddies of holy stone were not a small amount to Xianxia and Linger, but they could only barely afford to buy high-level elixirs whose prices had skyrocketed, causing them to feel a lot of pressure, because it was not easy to obtain them. Although it was this price on the market, it was still priceless. Just as Xianxia and Linger walked out of the cave and closed the stone door, Xianxia suddenly teleported through space and appeared by their side. "I'll go with you guys. You guys have a wide range of connections, but you guys can't compare to me in identifying medicinal ingredients." Xianxia was actually worried that something might happen to them. Now that the high-grade immortal medicines were all controlled by the Super Holy School, the price would skyrocket by at least 10 times, so no one would buy them now. If someone were to buy them, they would definitely attract attention. Of course, Red Cloud and Linger would be happy to accompany Xianxia. Although Super Holy School wouldn't cause trouble at the Holy Beast Mountain range, they could still cause trouble for them. With Xianxia accompanying them, they wouldn't need to be afraid. There are also some cities in the Sacred Beast Mountain range, but unlike the humans, they usually dig caves in a mountain or on some huge trees. It's said that this is the largest ancient tree in the Sacred Beast Mountain range, and it's even a sacred tree. As Linger walked, he introduced the situation of the Sacred Beast Mountain range to Xianxia. Red Cloud added, "It's said that the owner of this holy tree is an eagle, one of the 10 great beast emperors of the Saint Realm." Xianxia looked forward, wanting to see the gigantic holy tree, but a large mountain blocked his line of sight, making it difficult to see the huge tree in the distance. Furthermore, there was a thin mist floating in the air. Long Shui suddenly said to Xianxia, "I have a white dragon sword here. Originally, the Tianlong sword was also with me, but it was loaned away that year. That guy seems to be a big bird." Xianxia was not surprised. Long Shui could even lend out something as valuable as divine deity. There was nothing surprising about lending the Tianlong sword to others. "Once we get there, we'll be able to confirm if it's really him. I wonder if that guy will return it to me." Long Shui said, "That guy is not easy to deal with. Right now, all I am missing is the Tianlong sword and the white dragon sword to be able to gather all of the 7 dragons sword." "So what exactly is going on with this 7 dragons sword?" Xianxia asked. "I don't know, but in short, my white dragon sword appeared by my side all of a sudden, and then the white dragon sword led me to search for the Tianlong sword. At that time, the other 6 dragons were like me, and they were guided by the dragon sword in their hands to search for the Tianlong sword." Long Shui was extremely proud of himself when he mentioned this. Xianxia scolded in a low voice, "It's not easy to get this thing to lend to others." Long Shui snorted, "They didn't just casually lend it to me. That guy exchanged a bunch of holy fruits with me. If I had met you earlier, I wouldn't have even bothered to look at him." Xianxia had already guessed that she only lent the Tianlong sword out because she was greedy, but now that he and Long Shui had good abilities, it shouldn't be hard for them to take back the Tianlong sword. "I wonder what will happen if we gather all the 7 dragons sword." Xianxia was very curious about this. "I also want to know, when we 6 dragons met back then, not only was it a competition for the Tianlong sword, we also wanted to snatch away all the other dragons' holy swords, but we did not succeed. I only knew that the green dragon gave his azure dragon sword to the old Jiang in the end." Long Shui said. When Xianxia entered the emperor's tomb, he defeated a spirit body that became him and obtained the azure dragon sword. After going over more than 10 mountains that were as tall as the clouds, Xianxia and the others finally saw the ancient holy tree. From the top of the mountain, the gigantic green crown of the tree looked like a green dome that shrouded a large piece of land. Xianxia stood at the top of the tall mountain. The clouds had already reached the top of the clouds, and only reached the middle of the mountain. This mountain could be considered very tall, but the tree was even taller, and the crown of the tree looked like it had been propped up by a thick tree trunk. Even if Xianxia and the others were at the summit of the mountain, they would still have to raise their heads and look at the treetop that seemed to connect into the starry sky. So high! Xianxia was stunned for a while, then exclaimed, "Is everyone on top of that tree? Let's fly up." Just as Xianxia finished speaking, Linger and Xianxia immediately pulled on him, worried that he would fly over. Red Cloud anxiously said, We can't fly, we can only go up through the transmission array in the trunk, and that is the top tree. There are a total of 3 crowns, we can only go to the middle tree. Linger said, the treetop in the middle is beneath the clouds. We'll be able to see it once we go down the mountain. Xianxia laughed. What a strange tree. The trunk of this giant tree was as big as the sky. The branches that made up its crown were even thicker, and each branch was as thick as a large river. After descending the mountain, Xianxia indeed saw 2 treetops at the bottom. The lowest one was around 10,000 meters tall, while the middle one was hidden in the clouds. Why can't I go to the top one? Xianxia asked. Because the Beast King is up there. That is his lair. If we recklessly go there, we will be killed. Said. At this moment, she and Red Cloud were tightly holding on to Xianxia's arm, worried that Xianxia would fly up, because Xianxia's current fearless expression made them very worried. When he approached the holy tree, Xianxia realized that the tree had a natural transparent barrier that protected the whole tree from being destroyed. Of course, if it was destroyed inside the tree, it would be punished by the tree manager. There must be a lot of good stuff underneath this holy tree. Long Shui muttered. The biggest possibility is that there is a high-quality holy stone mine below. No wonder when that guy gave me that many holy fruits back then, he did not even bat an eye. If I knew earlier, he would have given me a little more. If she did not meet Xianxia, Long Shui would have definitely thought of the holy fruit on the tree. Now that Xianxia was a cultivator with the alive slain method, he was able to create many holy fruits, and she was too lazy to obtain them herself. At the bottom of the huge tree trunk, thick tree roots protruded out from the ground, causing gorges to appear on the ground. At the bottom of the huge tree trunk, thick tree roots rose up from the ground, causing gorges to appear on the ground. The tree trunk in front had a very small crack, which looked like it was naturally formed. From afar it looked very small, but from a closer look, it was more than enough for a giant dragon to drill into it. Xianxia faintly felt that this holy tree was very close to the legendary divine tree. The earth tree he met in the core of the earth was not as big as this one, but the aura emitted by these 2 trees made him feel that they were very similar. There were many people walking in and out of the huge crack on the tree trunk. Some of them were saint beasts in human form, but there were more humans than saint beasts. This made people feel strange. Xianxia and Linger were already very familiar with the place. They brought Xianxia light carriage and entered the gigantic transmitting square inside the tree trunk. The transmission array here was free, because all the energy in this place originated from this holy tree, which made Xianxia feel that it was not bad. After all, after a large force took control of an area, they would charge the same amount of teleportation fees to obtain it. Xianxia and the other 2 used the transmission array to go up a thick branch. On top of this branch, there was a small city, about 100,000 people of the same size, and straight branches that were growing diagonally, to the point that one could see the end of it with a glance. In the middle of this thick branch was a wide street, and even though there were a large number of constructs on both sides of the road, it still gave off a very spacious and stable feeling. There were many branches on the second crown of this holy tree, but not every branch could be used to build a city. It looks like there are a lot of them, Xianxia said in a low voice. He could see the end of the building at a glance, and those long branches could not be seen at the end. This kind of thick and short branches are the most stable. If we want to buy medicinal ingredients, we need to find a person here. At this moment, she and Linger had become extremely vigilant. They had already changed their appearances, and they were still wanted. Even if they were to be exposed in the Holy Beast Mountain range, it would bring them a lot of trouble. Xianxia's current thoughts were all on the highest treetop because there was a Beast King there, so there was a high possibility that Long Shui's Tianlong sword was there. Right now, Long Shui was already using the Heaven Tour method to investigate. If you want to go to the top floor, what do you need to do? Xianxia sent a sound transmission to Linger and Xianxia, causing the 2 girls' delicate bodies to tremble. That's the Eagle Emperor's nest. Legends say that the place above is where the fruits are, and all the fruits are holy fruits. Do you think you can go up there easily? Red Cloud said, Don't worry, I'm just asking. Seeing the 2 girls being so worried, Xianxia laughed. and continued to follow the two girls towards a 5-story tall wooden tower. The building rules here are only made of wood. No other materials are allowed. Eagle Emperor, that should be right. That guy is an eagle, Long Shui said. In my impression, that guy was a very eccentric green-haired eagle. Green feathers, they are indeed very rare. Xianxia asked, did you find anything? We can't detect it. The top layer of the natural formation is too strong and hard to break through. If you used a spatial teleportation, it should be possible, Long Shui said. Right now, Xianxia did not have any plans to take action, because Long Shui did not know much about the green-haired eagle and was not certain that the Tianlong sword was still in the hands of the green-haired eagle. Even if it was, the green-haired eagle would probably go back on its words and start attacking him again. Therefore, Xianxia would not take the risk before he had fully investigated her. His current strength was not weak either. If he also borrowed Long Shui's power, he would be even more terrifying. Even if he faced the Beast King, he could still preserve his life if he couldn't defeat it. We're here, leave the rest to us. If you want to fight, then you can do it. Linger sent a sound transmission to Xianxia. Xianxia nodded his head and followed behind the two girls, stepping into the door. The moment they entered, a few strong auras rushed over and probed back and forth on their bodies because they were stronger and thus attracted the attention of some of the stronger guardians inside the tower. Please come in, my two esteemed guests. An old man walked over with a smile and spoke extremely politely to Xianxia and Linger, but Xianxia was only a follower in his eyes, because looking at their profound spirit qi, Xianxia and Linger were extremely strong. The status of women was not high to begin with. To be able to become so strong meant that she had a higher position. Even if it was men, after being heavily groomed by powerful forces, they would not have as much strength as Red Cloud and Linger. Xianxia and Linger merely nodded slightly before walking to a door, bringing Xianxia to a luxurious living room. Please wait a moment. The restaurant owner will arrive soon. After the old man finished speaking, he waved his hand, signaling the two seductive girls to pour some tea for Xianxia and the others, and then left the hall. Xianxia sized up the two charming girls and discovered that they both had a snow-white tail with fluffy hair. He knew immediately that they were two foxes. No wonder they were so charming at such a young age. It was actually a young man. This young man wore snow-white clothes and wore a long braid that hung down on his chest. Coupled with his handsome white face, he gave off an illusion that he was a girl. The big shopkeeper was actually a youth whose gender was difficult to differentiate. Xianxia was quite surprised in his heart, but Red Cloud and Linger didn't think much of it. The youth waited for the two fox girls to finish pouring the tea before lightly shouting, "You two may leave." After the fox girl left, the young man smiled at Xianxia and Linger. That smile was a little deceptive. It made Xianxia feel very bad. At this time, the young man looked at Xianxia and frowned. "Are you still not going to leave?" Linger coldly snorted, "Duke Qing, it's not up to you to order my men around, right?" Seeing Linger's attitude, the teenager named Qing Wang became slightly angry and his expression became slightly cold. "Since you guys are looking for me for a business deal, at least respect me a little. Could it be that you can't use your own appearance?" Xianxia could already tell that Xianxia and Linger recognized this Duke Qing, and they even had some conflicts. "We're not here to look for you. We're here to look for the boss. You're just a shopkeeper. Why are you being so arrogant?" Linger's sudden anger made him puzzled, and the usually calm Red Cloud did not stop Linger. Long Shui laughed. "This Duke Qing is only a big frog. His strength is a little strong, but there is nothing to be arrogant about." Red Cloud calmly said, "This is the business of a 5 million gene holy stone. You should quickly go and call your boss over." A 5 million gene holy stone was a large number. Even the powerful head storekeeper couldn't make the decision. "Humph, don't think that you will be safe in the Holy Beast Mountain range, and don't think that you can look down on everyone just because you have a few holy stone. Just you wait." After saying that, he angrily left the living room. Seeing the Frog King leave angrily, Xianxia shook his head and laughed. "This guy has quite the tone you guys have. I was wondering what kind of enmity you have with him. He doesn't look too bad. Ji Linger's beautiful eyes flashed with anger, and she snorted. Don't just think that he's a little brat. He's actually a 10,000-year-old frog, and both genders eat him. Previously, he did look quite nice, but later on we found out that he's an extremely hypocritical guy, and was almost deceived by him. So that's how it is. It seems that after being seen through by you all, he became flustered and exasperated. One must be careful of this guy. Xianxia was not afraid of the Frog King. He was just worried that guy would use underhanded means to deal with Ji Linger and Red Cloud. Yeah, I heard that guy used a lot of insidious methods. We have to be wary of him in the Sacred Beast Mountain range, but we don't need to worry too much. He wouldn't dare to use any of those powerful poisons in the Holy Tree. It would be a death sentence if he were discovered. Red Cloud smiled and took a sip of fragrant tea. Not long after Azure Emperor left, a very amiable-looking old man in gray walked in. He had a benevolent smile on his face that caused people to feel very close to him. It was difficult for them to be wary of him. This old man was the owner of this place. I heard that you two have brought a lot of holy stone here. If you need anything, just say it. This old man had done business with Red Cloud Ji Linger before. They were purchasing medicinal ingredients back then. Boss Lee, we're here to buy Luyuan Azure fruit this time. How long will it take for you to help us get them? Red Cloud asked. The 6 Yuan Sky Pill was a rather expensive Tier 6 Immortal pill. It had the assistance of the innate Qi and could quickly transform it into Saint Force. It was very popular among cultivators and had a very large market. As long as there was this pill, many cultivators that had reached the 9th stage of the Immortal Becoming realm would buy it even if they went bankrupt because it would help them become a Saint Immortal. Boss Lee did not know what they wanted the Luyuan Azure fruit for. Looking at his smiling face, he knew that the price would not be low. Previously, the Frog King was not a good person, and Boss Lee even invited him to be a head storekeeper. From this, it could be seen that Boss Lee was not a good person, so Xianxia did not have any good feelings towards him just because of Boss Lee's kind face. I can get it, but you should be well aware that the Super Holy School has already controlled the high-grade immortal medicine channels during this period of time, so the price. Boss Lee revealed an awkward expression. Ji Linger said, just state a price. 15 million kilograms for one. This is the worst kind of Luyuan Azure fruit. A perfect Luyuan Azure fruit requires 20 million kilograms. Hearing Boss Lee call out such a price, Xianxia and Ji Linger frowned. Red Cloud let out a light breath and said, this thing was originally only a few million gene holy stone. Now, a perfect one has unexpectedly risen to 20 million gene. Nothing is missing. Boss Lee shook his head and said, it's the same if you go to other places to ask about it. Seeing Boss Lee's determined attitude, Xianxia knew that there was no longer any room for discussion, and Ji Linger and Xia's situation was extremely sensitive. If they ran too far, they would definitely be exposed. Xianxia immediately sent a sound transmission to Xia and Ji Linger. Try to use the lowest price to buy the worst one. Red Cloud asked, you're buying the worst? Is that not a problem? That's right. How do you concoct pills at the worst rate? Ji Linger said, let's go to another place to take a look. Buy it. I have my ways. Xianxia said, no one would want the lowest quality Luyuan Azure fruit. It might even be below 5 million kilograms. Xianxia had intended to buy the worst kind of immortal medicine, because the spirit liquid that was condensed from the alive slain method that he cultivated could revive a dying spirit medicine. Xia and Ji Linger were slightly unwilling. In their eyes, this was just a waste of holy stone. Seeing that they did not say anything, Xianxia said to Boss Lee, 5 million kilograms of holy stone. Sell us the weakest Luyuan Azure fruit. Boss Lee was the same as the Frog King, thinking that Xianxia was just a follower. Brother, you must be joking. The current price of immortal medicine is no longer the same as before. Even the weakest Luyuan Azure fruits have been able to control the prices. You all should be well aware that with your own strength, Super Holy School has already bought many high-grade immortal medicine stores. Xianxia said to Xia and Ji Linger. Then let's go. Let's go somewhere else to take a look. Just as Red Cloud and Ji Linger were about to get up, Boss Lee anxiously shouted, sit down. I am not saying that there is no room for discussion. How about 8 million gene of holy stone? Xianxia laughed. The worst Luyuan azure fruit must have been left behind a long time ago, because they were not preserved properly. They became very poor. At that time, the price you bought from them must have been very low, giving you 5 million kilograms of holy stone. That's already a very generous price. No matter if it is before or now, you guys will never be able to sell it at this price. Ji Linger saw that Xianxia really wanted that lousy Luyuan azure fruit, and laughed. That's right. There aren't many idiots like us. If you don't want to sell it, then forget it. Let's go. Boss Li, farewell. Let's work together again when there's a chance. After speaking, Red Cloud walked towards the door of the living room. Ji Linger and Xianxia followed behind Red Cloud. When they reached the door, Boss Li just called for them, just as Xianxia expected. Never mind. I'll just sell it to you guys, sigh. Boss Li took out a jade box and opened it. Take a look first. If you want to buy it, don't regret it. When the time comes, I won't return the goods. The Luyuan azure fruit looked wrinkled and lifeless, just like a dried fruit. It was truly poor. If Xianxia had not insisted on buying it, Red Cloud and Ji Linger definitely would not have asked for this kind of immortal fruit. Right now, Red Cloud could only take out 5 million kilogram holy stone and buy this half-dead Luyuan azure fruit. After buying the Luyuan azure fruit, Xianxia and the rest hurriedly left the tower. As they walked out of the door, the wisp of Xianxia's divine soul floating outside saw the Frog King sneering at them from his position on the 3rd floor. This fellow. Seeing the Frog King's deceptive expression, Xianxia hurriedly told Red Cloud and Ji Linger, "We are in trouble. I suspect that the Frog King has done something good in the dark. Don't worry, on this holy tree, even if there's trouble, it won't be too much trouble." She had already guessed what the Frog King would do, and all of this was within her and Ji Linger's expectations. As expected, when Xianxia and the others were about to reach the teleportation field at the root of the branch, a large group of people immediately appeared in the middle of the transmitting square. The people of Super Holy School would appear here and also come at Xianxia and the others. Just by thinking about it, one could tell that it was the Frog King who was laughing merrily just now that had done such a good thing. Don't worry. They won't dare to act rashly on this holy tree. Xianxia sent a sound transmission to Xianxia, telling him not to attack. Red Cloud and Ji Linger had already changed their appearances. It was just that the Frog King, who was watching them from inside the wooden tower, pointed out the change in Red Cloud and Ji Linger's appearances. Even though such a thing had happened, Boss Li did not show any reaction, as if he had already predicted it. This caused Xianxia and Ji Linger to feel extremely furious in their hearts. It seems that Boss Li is interested in the bounty money. Xianxia transmitted his voice to the 2 girls and followed behind them as if nothing had happened. The 3 of them calmly walked towards the teleportation area. The purpose of this group of people was obvious. They had just received the Frog King's sound transmission and knew that the 2 girls in front of them were Red Cloud and Ji Linger. 20 to 30 people rushed forward and surrounded Xianxia. "What are you guys doing?" Hong Yun said in a low voice. "Aren't you afraid of offending the Eagle Emperor?" The young man leading the group of Super Holy School laughed sinisterly. "A small fight will not alarm the Eagle Emperor. Could it be that the 2 of you can cause a ruckus?" Ji Linger and Red Cloud were very strong. But the people from Super Holy School believed that as long as they could catch them in an instant and prevent them from making too much of a noise, they would not disturb the overlord of this holy tree. Xianxia rubbed his fist and laughed coldly. "Seems like you guys are still afraid of Eagle Emperor. Since that's the case, let's fight to the death and bring that Eagle Emperor out." When Red Cloud and Ji Linger heard Xianxia's words, they immediately had a bad premonition. When the people of Super Holy School felt that Xianxia's body was constantly being used with terrifying coercion, they were greatly shocked in their hearts. They did not expect that the 2 women, Xianxia and Ji Linger, would actually find such a powerful helper so quickly. Xianxia's divine sense surged unceasingly, waves of divine power following his will and turned into an incomparably hot divine power of fire. "Quick! Take him down!" The young leader of Super Holy School shouted in shock. Those experts of the Super Holy School were all gods with decent strength. so they were very clear on the terrifying nature of that power. But if they did not stop Xianxia with his berserk flame power at this moment, he would definitely be moved to the top of the holy tree. The experts of Super Holy School all brandished their saint weapons, just as they were about to attack Xianxia. Xianxia's body suddenly exploded out with a burst of flames and disappeared. Just as everyone was startled, a wave of extremely hot qi suddenly surged from not too far away. Turning their heads to look, they saw that the top of the wooden tower was burning with gas. Xianxia had actually attacked the wooden tower first. Boss Li was originally gloating, but now his face was filled with anger as he rushed towards the burning wooden tower. This tower was the work of him. There were around 100,000 people on this branch. Seeing the wooden pagoda ignited due to being attacked, they all ran away in fear. One of the elderly shouted, "Eagle Emperor hates it when people use fire here." Seeing that the situation was not good, the people from Super Holy School hastily ran away. Just as they were about to step forward, a majestic pressure suddenly enveloped them, causing them to instantly kneel on the ground as if they were carrying a mountain of 10,000 kilograms. "Don't even think about leaving, you were the ones who wanted to capture us. If the Eagle Emperor appeared, someone else would have to be responsible for this." Xianxia's cold voice sounded, and at the same time, a ball of fire flew over. The ball of fire crashed into the Super Holy School's group. It was a man who was struggling and howling due to the holy fire. The one who was burned by the sacred fire was the Frog King. Xianxia used his spatial energy and came over in an instant. He looked at the Frog King with an ice-cold face. "Don't think that we didn't know you called these guys over." Ah! Boss Li, quickly save me. Hurry up and save me, you have a snitch too." "Ah!" The Frog King roared loudly. The flame Xianxia had released was a strong sacred fire, and in just a moment, it had burned the wooden pagoda. At this moment, thick smoke surged and continuously soared into the sky, and when some of the branches in the distance saw the situation here, they were immediately filled with fear. On one hand, they were shocked by Xianxia's strength. On the other hand, they were very afraid in their hearts, and had even forgotten to urge Xianxia to leave this place quickly. Xianxia suddenly stared at Boss Li, who was far away. He grabbed at the air and grabbed onto space, grabbing onto Boss Li, then grabbing him from a distance, he threw him towards the Frog King, who was rolling on the ground, spitting out a ball of flame, striking towards Boss Li. Boss Li was also set on fire by the terrifying holy fire released by Xianxia, screaming and rolling about. "All of you are courting death. You can't blame me for this." Xianxia's voice that was filled with killing intent caused the experts in the Super Holy School to feel a chill down their spines. Although they were all holy immortals, they were all suppressed by the invisible pressure released by Xianxia. Xianxia walked towards a middle-aged man and sneered, "You are all Super Holy School's men, right? Don't worry, I won't kill you." After he finished speaking, he quickly waved his hand, only to see the middle-aged man screaming miserably, his face becoming extremely pale. In Xianxia's hand, a bright golden bead appeared. This was the heavenly pill that the middle-aged man condensed in his dantian. It was actually instantly taken out by someone. That middle-aged man did not have a single wound, and his heavenly dan seemed to have been taken out of his body through the air. This was precisely the spatial power Xianxia had used. The spatial rule spiritual bead he had fused with previously would display its true power with his current strength. Xianxia kept the heaven pellet and looked at the rest of the people in the Super Holy School. His cold and fierce gaze made the group of experts in the Super Holy School shiver. If the heaven pill was taken out, it would be equivalent to crippling the body. Unless there was a supreme divine pill, otherwise it would take a long time for it to recover. Return to the Super Holy School and tell your leader that if they do not withdraw their bounty soon, there will be a day when I annihilate the entire Super Holy School. Xianxia's hands suddenly danced in the air, and the group of Super Holy School people started to scream out. He had already taken out the heaven pills from their bodies at an extremely fast speed. To these experts, it was even more brutal than death. Red Cloud and Linger were already drenched in sweat from Xianxia's actions. They seemed to think that their heaven pills would be taken out by Xianxia anytime soon, but they felt an inexplicable sense of excitement in their hearts. They who originally had no one to rely on were no longer afraid of being bullied by others. Just as Xianxia was about to attack the Frog King and Boss Li, an ear-piercing scream came out like thunder. The sound made everyone's heart feel as if something had ruthlessly struck their hearts, making them feel extremely uncomfortable. It really is this guy. This is the big bird that borrowed my Tianlong sword. Long Shui scoffed. Today, I must make him return the Tianlong sword, or else I must pluck all his bird feathers. Hearing this voice, everyone knew that the Eagle Emperor had appeared. Many of those who did not come to teleport away had a desperate feeling that the end of the world was coming. They were worried that the Eagle Emperor would get angry and kill them all. The appearance of the Eagle Emperor caused everyone to feel anxious. Only now did Red Cloud and Ji Linger react and send a sound transmission to Xianxia, telling him to leave quickly. You guys leave first, it's still too late. I still have some matters to attend to here. On the contrary, Xianxia urged them to leave quickly. Xianxia and Ji Linger hesitated for a moment. Seeing that Xianxia was not joking, they anxiously rushed towards the teleportation area. With Xianxia's current strength, there was no need for them to worry. A gust of wind accompanied by a strong pressure descended from the sky in a grandiose manner, causing even Xianxia to feel quite a bit of pressure. When the gale appeared, the flames had already been extinguished. A black-faced man wearing a black feathered robe descended slowly from above, exuding a powerful pressure. This man's eyes were extremely sharp, like that of a falcon's. When he looked at the man, he felt like a prey. He felt like he was at the mercy of others. That's right, it's this guy. He's a green-furred eagle. Why is he wearing a black robe now? Could it be that this guy dyed himself black? Long Shui had already ascertained that the big bird who had borrowed her Tianlong sword back then was this Eagle Emperor before his eyes. Eagle Emperor looked around him, then looked at the man lying on the ground and moaned in pain. Seeing that Xianxia was not afraid at all, he already knew who was doing it. Don't you know the rules here? Eagle Emperor looked at Xianxia and his cold voice carried a clear killing intent. It could be seen that he was extremely angry at this moment, because someone actually disregarded his dignity. Xianxia said, I was also forced to do nothing. They were the ones who started it. You don't believe me to ask them. If I encounter something like that, can't I resist? In the end, it's still your problem. As the owner of this tree, I can't get any guarantees for my safety. You can't blame me for that. When the Super Holy School and the rest initially saw how furious the Eagle Emperor was, they secretly rejoiced in their hearts, thinking that Xianxia was really unlucky. Who knew that Xianxia's guts were far beyond their imagination, and actually said such arrogant words. The Eagle Emperor frowned because what Xianxia said was not without reason. If it was him, he would definitely resist too. In this kind of situation, whoever had some sort of rule to protect themselves was the king, and the person who dared to make a move was indeed his responsibility, and this was something he did not manage properly. All you need to do is answer me, whether or not you are threatening him first. The Eagle Emperor swept his cold eyes across them and looked at the group of people from Super Holy School. Those eagle-like eyes made the group of people forget about their pain. We're just following orders. Just as one of them answered, the black feathered robe that Eagle Emperor was wearing suddenly shot out a black feather that flew towards the person who answered just now. After that person was hit by the black feather, he instantly turned into a pile of black powder. Seeing this scene, the rest of the Super Holy School felt a sense of despair, and their bodies immediately turned cold. Fear spread to their entire body, and that kind of feeling was even worse than death for them. Xianxia laughed coldly. They are Super Holy School's people. They are indeed just following orders. It's just that they are small. You are a dignified Eagle Emperor. What meaning is there to kill these small fry? The reason they dare cause trouble in your territory is because they think that their Super Holy School is much stronger than you. As long as they weren't deaf, they would be able to hear it. However, he was speaking the truth with his identity as a Eagle Emperor. Dealing with these small things would only bring him down the price. He should go to the Super Holy School to seek an explanation. You are just a human, at most you are just a little stronger. Do you think I will be led astray by your nose? The Eagle Emperor was a little angry, and Xianxia kept talking to him as if she was instructing him. Xianxia laughed. I don't need to do what I say, but as the master here, if others come to your place to cause trouble, you will only eliminate a few small fries, and will not let the people here feel at ease, so the super holy school will underestimate you. Eagle Emperor laughed coldly. You don't need to say it, I already know this. Even though you were forced to take action, my rule is that no one is allowed to make a move on my territory. Not only did you make a move, you even set a fire, so you will still be punished. Originally, Eagle Emperor thought that Xianxia would be afraid. Before I get punished, I have to get something back. Xianxia suddenly became serious. He had already confirmed that the Tianlong sword was lent to this Eagle Emperor at that time. Stop being long-winded. You'd better obediently accept the punishment. That way I will spare your life. Eagle Emperor's face turned ice-cold. Is the Tianlong sword still with you? I'm here for a friend. Xianxia did not dawdle and directly asked for the Tianlong sword. Sure enough, when Eagle Emperor heard the 3 words, Tianlong sword, his expression suddenly changed. Your friend is still alive. Eagle Emperor's face turned serious, but at the same time he was shocked. He had thought that Long Shui had already died. That's right, she's still alive. The Tianlong sword lent it to you for so long. You should have returned it already, right? Xianxia said. Eagle Emperor sneered. On what basis should I believe you unless she appears herself? After saying that, a white light flashed by Xianxia's side, and a beautiful white-clothed female appeared. Seeing the beautiful face of the lady, Eagle Emperor's face became extremely ugly. I've appeared. Quickly return the Tianlong sword to me. Long Shui stretched out her hand and pouted slightly. It was obvious that she was dissatisfied, because the Tianlong sword had been in Eagle Emperor's hands for a long time, so she had clearly lost a lot. The Eagle Emperor looked at Long Shui carefully. His eagle eyes gave off a green glow, and when he saw the green glow in his eyes, Long Shui's face turned cold. Are you looking at my strength? If I wasn't too strong, I wouldn't have returned it. Long Shui said coldly. Eagle Emperor smiled slightly. Your divine deity is really gone. Sorry, I still have something to discuss today. With that, the Eagle Emperor turned into a gust of wind and disappeared, causing Long Shui to become extremely furious. He shouted at the Eagle Emperor, Stupid green hair eagle, you actually dared to act shamelessly. Just you wait. I'll give you 3 days. If you don't return my Tianlong sword, I'll chop off your broken tree. If you can cut it off, then please do so. But if you really can cut it off, then I don't need to return you the Tianlong sword. Eagle Emperor's words made Long Shui flustered and exasperated. She activated her Heaven Tour method to look for traces of her Eagle Emperor. Eagle Emperor was very confident in this holy tree. It would even be very difficult for him to cut it down, let alone the others. Long Shui was currently very angry. This Eagle Emperor actually dared to act shamelessly and blatantly. He did not plan to return the Tianlong sword to her. I'll give you one more chance. If you don't return the Tianlong sword to me, you have to bear the consequences. Long Shui shouted angrily. The power of the heavenly dragon on her body continued to surge out along with her anger. The wind blew until the crown of the tree in the middle of the tree started to shake violently. When everyone saw how terrifying the woman was, they immediately fled. The Eagle Emperor was already an extremely powerful existence in their eyes, but the Eagle Emperor did not dare to face Long Shui alone. They had to hide even if they wanted to, which showed just how terrifying this beautiful woman was. As a beast king, the Eagle Emperor was equivalent to a human strong of Lord stage. He would rather offend Long Shui than return the Tianlong sword to him. You have the guts to come and snatch it. This sword has been with me for so many years and has deep feelings for me. When I use it, it feels like it's connected to my flesh and blood. You can only blame yourself for being irresponsible and not taking it when it expires. Eagle Emperor's voice came from above, causing Long Shui to become even more furious. You green-haired eagle, you're being unreasonable. Long Shui's face suddenly became calm, and I could tell that she was completely enraged. She looked at Xianxia and shouted, Cut off this tree. I want to see if it is a Tianlong sword's treasure or this tree's treasure in his eyes. The holy tree was extremely thick, and it was even larger than several huge mountains. It had grown for so many years, and was as hard as iron. It was truly not easy to cut through. But Xianxia felt that it could be done. He nodded. I need some time, and I do not wish to be disturbed. Long Xue's expression was solemn. He glared angrily at the sky and said coldly, Don't worry, I guarantee that he won't disturb you. Moreover, I will also snatch the Tianlong sword back from his hands. The Eagle Emperor knew that Xianxia was very powerful. At this moment, he also wanted to see how Xianxia would break his holy tree. Xianxia immediately jumped down from the tree branch and landed on the ground. Normally, he was in charge of taking care of the holy tree, so he was extremely strong. Now that he was called over by the Eagle Emperor to deal with Xianxia, although the tree was very hard to break, the Eagle Emperor did not want anyone to damage the tree, so he sent a few of his subordinates to stop Xianxia. Long Xue, who was above, split a strand of his divine soul to inspect Xianxia's situation, and flew to the crown of the holy tree together with him. Don't even think of getting close to him, Dragon Net. Xianxia originally wanted to help, but after hearing Long Xue's voice, he knew that he wouldn't need to focus on this matter. Long Xue would help him settle it. Eagle Emperor had sent over 10 giant black eagles. All of them were powerful holy beasts. They were flying over from all directions, but were suddenly enveloped by a light net. The light net's threads were all tiny dragon patterns. They looked extremely powerful, spraying out waves of dragon chi. Xianxia looked at the light webs in the sky and smiled slightly. He took out the green dragon demon-slain broadsword and injected some powerful energy into it, causing the green dragon demon-slain broadsword to grow big quickly. As it did so, the blade's body emitted a piercing green light. The deafening dragon roars caused the thick branches of the holy tree to shake frantically. The majestic green dragon blade chi rising up to the sky, causing the people on the tree branches to feel an indescribable fear, and they all left the holy tree through the transmission array. Why would the green dragon demon-slain broadsword appear here? Seeing that the green dragon demon-slain broadsword was getting bigger, and that the blade aura was filled with killing intent, the Eagle Emperor was shocked. He suddenly felt that the aura was very familiar, but also felt that it was a little strange. Heaven-Earth killing method. This is the killing power of the heaven and earth. Eagle Emperor never thought that Xianxia would be so secretive. Not only did he have his own green dragon demon-slain broadsword, he also cultivated the heaven-earth killing method. Quickly stop! Eagle Emperor suddenly roared out, releasing a sharp roar, the sound waves transforming into a powerful force, rushing straight into the ground, striking towards Xianxia. Celestial Dragon Cover. Long Xue had guaranteed that she wouldn't be disturbed by this. Seeing the Eagle Emperor make a move, she released the power of her heavenly dragon form into a transparent dragon, coiling around Xianxia and forming a protective shield. The terrifying sound wave released by the Eagle Emperor struck onto Long Xue's sky dragon barrier and actually bounced back, with the direction of its rebound being controlled by Long Xue. She controlled the sound wave's power, which did not weaken in the slightest, and rushed towards the first treetop, instantly eliminating tens of thick branches. The branches fell down like mountain ranges, rumbling and falling to the ground, causing the ground to shake. The rumbling sound seemed as if it was going to split the sky. Only now did Eagle Emperor realize that he had underestimated the strength of Long Xue and Xianxia, especially Long Xue, who was so strong even without his divine deity. Green Hawk, I found you. When was attacking Xianxia, she had locked onto his position, and then rushed up, instantly arriving at the top of the holy tree, standing on a tree branch, facing Eagle Emperor. At this time, Xianxia's green dragon demon-slain broadsword had become very long, and could already cut through the thick trunk of the holy tree. Your precious holy tree is about to be chopped apart. Don't you feel the slightest bit of heartache? Long Xue asked. In her hand she held a white dragon sword. It was her white dragon sword. Humph. No matter what, I won't give you the Tianlong sword. Eagle Emperor's face was full of determination as he said coldly, If you have the guts, then cut down the holy tree. Long Shui clenched his teeth and said angrily, "Fine, I don't need any more Tianlong's sword. I want to capture you alive, torture you for millions of years. Isn't it just a bunch of broken Tianlong's sword? It's fine if you don't want them." Seeing Long Shui's current state, he knew that she had made up her mind. Eagle Emperor was unavoidably worried, and immediately calculated that for the sake of the Tianlong sword, the holy tree was gone, and he might even be captured to torture. Thinking about it, he didn't feel that it was worth it. "Stop. I will give you the Tianlong sword. Hurry up and tell that guy down there to stop." The Eagle Emperor avoided Long Shui's swift and fierce sword and shouted. Although Long Shui was the heavenly dragon supreme lord, and the green-furred eagle was the ruler here, when facing such a high and mighty sky dragon, he still felt a lot of pressure. Furthermore, Long Shui's current strength was even stronger than his previous divine deity. "You bastard! Why didn't you act like this earlier?" Long Shui scoffed, and immediately sent a sound transmission to Xianxia, telling him to stop his attack. It was not easy to grow it to this extent. Receiving Long Shui's sound transmission, he immediately withdrew his hand and flew up, following Long Shui's aura to the top of the tree branch. Only now did Eagle Emperor attach great importance to Xianxia. He faintly felt that Xianxia was much more terrifying than him. He never thought that after he had isolated himself for so long, such an extraordinary person had actually appeared. "Where did your green dragon demon-slain broadsword come from, and your heaven-earth killing method? If there's only one of these things, it would be normal. But now that it's with you, it definitely isn't a coincidence." Eagle Emperor asked, "Cut the crap, hurry up and take out the Tianlong sword." All of the stuff on this brat's body was given to him by Qi Shi, and now Qi Shi has resurrected. Long Shui laughed coldly. "Of course, if you're afraid of death, you can sell your soul to the Hell Devil Emperor and exchange it for an eternal life. No one will look down on you." Eagle Emperor snorted, took out a sword and threw it to Long Shui. "Now we owe each other nothing. Leave quickly. I do not want to see you two again." Chun Xiang looked at the sword in his hand carefully. It looked like a wooden sword, but it did not have any threatening aura, nor any kind of terrifying sword chi. No matter how he looked at it, it seemed to be a wooden sword carved from ordinary wood. But he could tell from Long Shui's expression that this truly was the head of the Seven Dragons sword. "Humph. I also don't want to see you again. I didn't expect your character to be so bad. If I knew earlier, I wouldn't have lent you the Tianlong sword. Let's go." Long Shui withdrew his Tianlong sword and left the holy tree with Chun Xiang. After leaving the holy tree far behind, Long Shui entered the serene jade ring and asked Chun Xiang to take out the other Seven Dragons' sword. Chun Xiang still needed a bit more time to return to Red Cloud and Ji Linger's cave. Right now, all of the Seven Dragons' sword had been collected, so he was very curious about what would happen. "Is that wooden sword really a Tianlong sword?" Chun Xiang asked. "Can you let me see? I haven't touched it yet." Of course, this Tianlong sword is no longer a holy sword. It should be a divine sword. I don't usually use it. Long Shui released the Tianlong sword. The moment he held it, he knew that the wooden sword was not ordinary. He waved it a few times, and at the same time poured his divine power into it, but it was not as smooth as he had expected. When his divine power entered the Tianlong sword's body, it was blocked by something, and his divine power was not able to circulate smoothly. It really is difficult to use. Any celestial sword is not that difficult. Chun Xiang returned the Tianlong sword to Long Shui and asked, "Put the Seven Dragons sword together and see what reaction you have." Long Shui said, "I'll try it now." After a while, Long Shui let out a dejected sigh. "What's wrong? Is there no response from the Seven Dragons sword together?" Chun Xiang hurriedly asked. Hearing Long Shui's sigh, he also felt disappointed. "There's a reaction, but it's not like what we imagined. When the Seven Dragons sword is together, the seven sealed dragon souls inside will fuse together and the spirit grain inside the holy sword will float out and then combine together. However, it doesn't last long." Long Shui replied. "Then what's going on?" Chun Xiang frowned as he thought about it. "I feel that the Seven Dragons sword can only be effective when placed on something. I'll play a bit more with it and see if I can find that thing, Long Shui said. Xianxia did not directly return to the cave that Red Cloud and the others were in. In order to prevent being followed by the Eagle Emperor, he changed his appearance and traveled through space several times before finally arriving at the mountain. Red Cloud and Linger had already returned home a long time ago. When Xianxia arrived at the door, he immediately used his spatial energy to enter. Seeing that Xianxia had returned, Xianxia and Linger heaved a sigh of relief. Before they left, they heard the Eagle Emperor's whistle that resonated through countless of mountains and rivers. I'm fine. Xianxia lightly slapped the two girls' faces and laughed. We can start concocting pills now. Super Holy School has raised the price of many high-grade immortal pills to such a high level. If we can concoct them, the price would be very low, and we would be able to sell them very well. Linger stuck out his tongue. We only have a half-dead Luyuan azure fruit right now. Do you think that the Luyuan azure dan is beans or something? Xianxia laughed but did not speak. In his eyes, they were indeed the same. Don't run around during this period of time. When I come out, all of you stay here to cultivate for a while. It should be very chaotic outside. If nothing unexpected happens, the Eagle Emperor will definitely be bribed by the Hell Devil Emperor. Xianxia said. Xianxia and Linger were very curious about what Xianxia had done at the Holy Tree, but they did not ask because Xianxia had become more and more mysterious in their eyes. Xianxia entered the secret room and took out the low-quality Luyuan azure fruit. He cut it in half and placed it inside a jade bowl, then took out a small jade bottle and dripped some spirit liquid onto the two halves of the immortal fruit. After using 2 drops, the originally terrible Luyuan azure fruit became 2, and the quality was very good. I never thought that using the immortal fruit would have such a good effect. In the future, I have to ask Qilian for more of her spirit liquid. The bottle in Xianxia's hand had been fused with his and LV Qilian's spirit liquid. Moreover, LV Qilian had mixed it with water before. If you don't add some holy water to dilute it, you can use it directly on the holy fruit. I really want to try it, Long Shui said. Taste your ass. You have already eaten so many sacred heart fruit. Do you still have any interest in these immortal fruits? Xianxia scolded. He cut the 2 Luyuan azure fruit open, cut them into 4.5 pieces, and dripped them into the spirit liquid. Very quickly, he obtained 4 of them. If only Sister Meiyao was here. I missed her so much. In the past, when Xianxia refined a new type of pill, he would always have Su Meiyao to guide him. Little scoundrel. You want to do that kind of shameful thing with her? He. Long Shui laughed sinisterly. I understand. Xianxia snorted. He took out the Yanlong furnace and poured the fire inside it. He heated up the pill furnace first and prepared to start concocting the pills. Not only did he become a saint, he also possessed the condensed divine deity. His control over all aspects was very strong. Even if he tried to concoct pills himself, he had great confidence in himself. His goal was to concoct pills. If he couldn't even get the immortal pills, then he wouldn't be able to become a pill saint. There were only 1 or 2 types of Tier 6 immortal pills. For example, the more common Tier 6 immortal pills were the Luyuan azure dan. The high Tier 1 immortal pills were very flexible, and that usually depended on the alchemist. According to the alchemist's experience and abilities, they could use some rare immortal medicines to concoct some useful immortal pills, which could be considered self-created. Because high-grade immortal medicines were few, they could be used to concoct pills. The uses of the immortal pills would be decided by the combination of the alchemist, which would test the abilities of the alchemist. Of course, if there were a few more Luyuan azure fruit, the 6th rank Dan Immortal would not try some of the pill formulas that no one had tried before. Right now, Xianxia had many Luyuan azure fruit. If he could refine a large number of them, it would be a huge impact to the sanctuary, especially for the medicine industry. Xianxia had a lot of experience in pill refining. According to the special characteristics of the Luyuan azure fruit, he could roughly guess the level of flame that he needed. The Luyuan azure dan could be refined using only 1 Luyuan azure fruit, but this was only Xianxia's method of refinement. If it was refined by other alchemists, in order to ensure its success, they would even add a few supplementary medicinal ingredients, which was also a huge expense. The supplementary medicinal ingredients used were all over 10,000 years old. When Xianxia was refining pills because he was cultivating the alive-slain method, he was able to infuse some of the special spirit liquid energy, which could be used as supplementary medicine. The Luyuan azure fruit was being burned by Xianxia's sacred fire inside the pill furnace. Not long later, the surface of the immortal fruit cracked, and the green energy that surged out actually burned up after touching the sacred fire, causing two types of flames to appear inside the pill furnace. One was his sacred fire, and the other was the Luyuan azure fruit's azure fire. What's going on? The energy inside the Luyuan azure fruit can actually be burned. Xianxia was very surprised, but according to his judgment, if he allowed the green flames to burn again, it would consume all the energy in the immortal fruit. He immediately released his divine power and penetrated into the green flames to search for the burning energy, and then mixed in some divine power to change the nature of the energy, preventing it from burning again. After controlling it, Xianxia heaved a sigh of relief, but not long after, the cracked immortal fruit spouted out another wave of energy. This time a mixture of green and purple flames appeared in the pill furnace. It's coming again. What's wrong with the Luyuan azure fruit? It's made of fire, right? Why does it have so many colored flames? Xianxia used the method just now to control it. This kind of fruit can turn the innate qi into holy energy, so it can produce 6 different colored flames. These flames are all holy flames, but their power is very small and unique, so they can refine the innate qi into holy energy in an extremely gentle manner. Xianxia thought for a while, then stopped controlling the strange flames that were leaking out, but released a barrier inside the pill furnace instead, enveloping all of the flames inside. Even if the flames burned with energy, the final amount of energy would not dissipate. Now, what Xianxia needed to do was to speed up the refining of the Luyuan azure fruit, and let the Luyuan azure fruit get burned by the flames. The quality would become even higher. Every immortal fruit costs 20 million kilograms of holy stone. If it's a pill, the price will at least double, and that is 40 million kilograms of holy stone. We can sell it for 30 million kilograms of holy stone, and it will be sold very quickly. Long Shui laughed. As long as you refine a dozen or so, and sell them all, you will have a lot of holy stone. This was not difficult for Xianxia at all, but Xianxia and Linger did not think so. They did not know how heaven-defying the spirit liquid that Xianxia had cultivated the alive-slain method was, and felt that Xianxia would be able to make a huge profit just by refining one pill. Xianxia's current goal was only to make a breakthrough into the divine pills and earn some holy stone as well. Not good. Xianxia, who was initially progressing relatively smoothly, suddenly frowned, beads of perspiration trickling down his forehead, only to see the Yanlong furnace suddenly tremble. Xianxia anxiously opened the lid of the Yanlong furnace, only to see colorful flames shooting out from inside with a strong medicinal smell. Swallow that flame, Xianxia shouted to Long Shui. Long Shui immediately appeared in the secret room, and quickly absorbed the 6-colored flame. After that, he returned to the quiet jade ring and asked, "What's going on? I failed." Xianxia shook his head. "It can only be considered a failure. I did not expect the fire inside the Luyuan azure fruit to be so strong. The moment I was about to completely refine it, the flame that suddenly exploded out was too strong. It caught me off guard and I had no choice but to release some of it, otherwise I would have failed. So you can go on now." Long Shui laughed. "If you had let me taste one first, this might not have happened." Xianxia sighed. "We can continue, but we can only condense one pill. If we don't lose those, the 3 Luyuan azure danes will definitely not be a problem." It was already quite good for a Luyuan azure fruit to refine 3 pellets, at least not in this sacred domain. The more high-leveled the pellet, the more benefit it had in this aspect. Even if he did not know how to condense that type of heaven-defying spirit liquid that could replicate medicinal ingredients, just based on the quantity of the pellet, it would be sufficient for him to be like a fish in water. While Xianxia was refining the pellet, something big happened outside, but that was within Xianxia and Long Shui's expectations. The Eagle Emperor had announced that they would ally with the Super Holy School, and even though that was the case, the other big shots of the sanctuary knew that the Eagle Emperor had promised the Hell Devil envoyess to join them. The strong Beast Emperor had joined the Super Holy School, causing the Super Holy School to become even more powerful. Many of the strong powers who had not been annexed by the Super Holy School felt a lot of pressure at this moment, because they knew very well the Super Holy School's ambition. If they did not have the strong power to stop the Super Holy School, the Super Holy School would dominate the entire sacred region sooner or later. The leader didn't give up at this moment, and continued to search for Linger and Red Cloud. This was because Linger knew Xianxia, who had the Green Dragon Demon-Slain broadsword, but Red Dawn had the Holy Spirit fire. 3 days and 3 nights passed. Originally, Xianxia thought that he would only need a day to refine the Luyuan Azure Dan, but when he was refining, he encountered many problems. When he was carefully processing the Luyuan Azure Dan, he needed a lot of time. He had gained a lot in these 3 days. At least, he successfully refined a Luyuan Azure Dan and did not waste the Luyuan Azure fruit. Xianxia was currently refining a high-level immortal pill. It was equivalent to walking the stairs to the top, steadily advancing step by step. I didn't expect this pill to be so expensive. Xianxia held a cyan-colored Luyuan Azure Dan, and such a small pellet could be sold for 50 million kilograms. This is the price that has skyrocketed by several times. If this was a normal price, many powers would be able to afford it. Long Shui said, "If you could sell a few pills, you would definitely be able to make a huge profit. This is all because of that Super Holy School." Xianxia laughed and took out another Luyuan Azure fruit, preparing to refine medicine. When he had previously heard that Super Holy School controlled the price of medicinal pellets, he had already thanked Super Holy School in his heart. If not for Super Holy School, the current Luyuan Azure Dan would never have been able to buy pills at such a high price. There were still 19 Luyuan Azure fruit left. Xianxia wanted to turn all these immortal fruits into immortal pills, and with his experience of success, he would be able to relax a lot. Before he was extremely familiar with refining a type of pill, it would not be an easy task. Xianxia estimated that if he wanted to perfectly refine a cauldron of pills, it would still take 2 to 3 days. For him, this could be considered a slow speed, but for the other Dan Immortal S to refine a batch of Luyuan Azure Dan, they would need at least 10 days. Most of them would need at least 1 to 2 months to be able to refine a batch. Thus his current speed was extremely terrifying. Xianxia spent the same amount of time as before to concoct the second batch of pills in 3 days and 3 nights. But this time he still was not able to concoct a single batch perfectly, and some small mistakes occurred during the process which resulted in a lot of leakage of energy. In the end, he could only condense 2 Luyuan Azure Dan pills, and if there were no errors, he could concoct 3 pellets. In order to become familiar with refining Luyuan Azure Dan, Xianxia didn't rest at all and stayed in the secret room to refine pills. In the blink of an eye, more than a month had passed. He had already used 10 Luyuan Azure Fruit S to refine a total of 25 Luyuan Azure Fruit. Now we can go out and enjoy ourselves. Xianxia smirked and walked out of the secret room. Every time he came out of the secret room, he always had Linger and Red Cloud, the 2 beauties, to take care of him. However, he was disappointed when he came out this time because Red Cloud and Linger were in closed-door cultivation, so he could only do it himself. He took out some Holy Spirit's water and placed it in the bath, soaking himself in it, and then removing the fatigue that he had accumulated over the past few days. "Where are you planning to sell those Luyuan Azure Dan?" Long Shui laughed. "Selling all of them is a huge number of holy stone. In this absolute monarch sanctuary, there are not many powers that can afford to eat all of them." Xianxia was comfortably bathing in the bath. He had thought about this before. "I don't plan to sell it to the Divine Feather School because I'm familiar with it, so it's not easy to get a high price. I plan to sell some of it and use it to exchange for some herbs needed to concoct a grade 7 immortal pill." Xianxia said. Feng Yujie was a pill master. Her Divine Feather School must have stored all these high-grade immortal medicines. They could definitely refine them themselves. There was no lack of Luyuan Azure Dan. Adding on to the fact that they were familiar with each other, it would definitely not be easy to sell them to Divine Feather School for such a crazy price. "I can only wait for those 2 beauties to come out." Xianxia walked out of the bath, put on his clothes, and sat in the hall to wait patiently. He did not want to refine pills right now at this moment, so he needed to calm down after concocting pills for more than a month. When he had nothing else to do, he used the Heaven Tour method and let his spirit wander around, looking at his surroundings. It was dusk. He had wanted to see the sunset, but as soon as his soul left the cave, he realized something was wrong. Why are there so many bats? Xianxia frowned. These bats are no ordinary bats. In the past, there aren't any here, and moreover, there is a very evil energy in their bodies. Long Shui said, I'll go out and take a look. She also used her heaven tour method to look at the bat that Xianxia was talking about. This type of bat should be from hell. Its name is Hell Devil Bat, and it's a vampire bat. Long Shui took a deep breath. If there were enough of them, then if a normal immortal met them, he would be sucked into the pit within an instant. In addition, this Hell Devil Bat has another ability, and that is to search for people. In addition, this Hell Devil Bat has another ability, and that is to search for people. Xianxia said, It seems like these Hell Devil Bats are used to search for us. This place is full of them. I wonder who released them. Is there any way to prevent these things from being detected? These things can't detect you, but it's hard to say for Red Cloud and Linger. Even if these underworld devil bats are far away, they can still smell the scent of fresh blood. Long Shui said, It could be the Eagle Emperor who sent them, or perhaps they are the leader-s of the Super Holy School. They don't have the blood aura of those two little girls, so they shouldn't be able to find them, right? Xianxia said he was not afraid of these hell devil bats. It's hard to say. If they used it or stayed in it, it would have left behind a weak scent of blood. As long as Master can sense it, it can reach all the hell devil bats. Long Shui said, You should prepare yourself. Being entangled by these underworld devil bats is not a good thing. Xianxia and Long Shui's souls were outside, and when the sky was completely dark, they suddenly realized that there were more and more hell demon bats gathered here. They discovered us so quickly. Xianxia took out his devil-suppressing mirror-s. Using the demon-suppressing equipment to deal with this kind of evil thing was the most effective. Long Shui said, You should wake them up first. They have already discovered us. It won't be long before those powerful fellows arrive here. Xianxia nodded and rushed to knock on the door. Wuxia and Linger did not stay in their room for too long. They woke up very quickly. When they opened the door and saw Xianxia's serious expression, they knew that something had happened. There's a large group of hell's magic bats outside. They're like dogs that are specially used to search for people. We should have already been discovered by now. Very soon, very strong people will arrive. Xianxia cut a long story short. Then what do we do now? She and Linger were not nervous either, because they knew that Xianxia would definitely have a way to fix it. Xianxia laughed and said, I'll temporarily stay inside one of my treasures. It's very beautiful inside. Both Red Cloud and Linger had no objections, so Xianxia placed them into the ring. Long Shui, who was inside, also did not avoid them, but continued to brag with them. Before Red Cloud and Linger entered, Xianxia separately asked them for 2 drops of blood. Using his spatial energy, he placed the 2 drops of blood in the depths of the cave, and then used a spatial travel technique to quietly leave the cave. Xianxia did not leave the place for a long time as he hid outside. He wanted to see who exactly controlled these underworld devil bats. You and I can't be a problem to deal with the Eagle Emperor together, but if there's one more Super Holy School from the Super Holy School or some other powerful fellow, it'll be difficult. Long Shui could see through Xianxia's thoughts. He was waiting for the strong warriors who were controlling the underworld devil bats to come over, hiding at the side to find an opportunity to make a move. Xianxia said, It doesn't matter, as long as they are still here, I will meet them sooner or later. Not long after, the number of hell's magic bats in the sky increased, and the light of the moon and stars shrouded the sky, causing the entire area to be shrouded in darkness. There may seem to be a lot of these hell devil bats, but they are all very precious and they are all adults. To grow to this point, it would take at least 10,000 years, and these types of hell devil bats would usually be led by a hell bat king. Long Shui said, Hellbat King isn't weak either. He's as powerful as the Hell Dragon, and even stronger than them. Xianxia chuckled. Eagle Emperor must have joined the Hell Devil Emperor, so these underworld devil bats should have been borrowed from him and the leader. If we kill more than half of them, it would be hard for them to explain themselves. The hell devil bats were all circling in the air, emitting an eerie sound that sent chills down one's spine. He's coming. Long Shui shouted lightly. Eagle Emperor has indeed come. Other than Eagle Emperor, there are 3 other fellows with very strong strengths. All of them are on par with Eagle Emperor. Xianxia nodded. One of them is definitely the leader of the Super Holy School. Even in the dark of the night, he could clearly see the few people standing at the entrance of the cave. Other than the Eagle Emperor, the other 3 were indeed very strong, and one of them had a pair of bat wings on his back. Other than Eagle Emperor and Hellbat King, there was also a white-robed elderly man and a black-clothed middle-aged man. That white-robed elderly man was Super Holy School. Xianxia and Linger had once described his appearance. Who else is there? Chunxiang was suspicious, and the middle-aged man in black then told Xianxia and Linger. After Xianxia and Linger heard this, their expressions changed slightly. Who is that guy? Long Shui asked anxiously. The Fox Emperor is a monster emperor. It's very normal for someone as cunning as him to be bought by the Hell Devil Emperor, Red Cloud said. However, they felt that it was very normal after thinking about it. This was because the Eagle Emperor saw Long Shui and Chunxiang as having the same strength as them. In order to be absolutely safe, it would be better to have a few more strong warriors. Eagle Emperor and the other 3 stood outside the cave, not entering. They were discussing something. According to the information I received, the man holding the green dragon demon-slain broadsword came from 9 Heaven World, so I am not too clear about his strength. However, there are many tricks he knows about Heaven-Earth killing method, and he has grasped many powerful weapons. The Hellbat King said. The Eagle Emperor nodded his head. Someone who can obtain green dragon demon-slain broadsword and can also control Heaven-Earth killing method is definitely not simple. We must not underestimate him, and there is also that white dragon who is known as Heavenly Dragon Supreme Lord back then, and is also very strong. Super Holy School looked at Hellbat King and asked, "Are you sure they are inside?" Hellbat King did not answer immediately. Instead, he closed his eyes to sense the surroundings. When he opened his eyes, there were some doubts on his face. I can sense the blood qi of the 2 women. Are they Chunxiang's or Bailong's? The Fox King replied, "This is not strange. Their concealing ability is very strong. I can also prevent you from sensing the blood aura. As long as you are sure that the 2 little girls are inside, it will be fine." Hellbat King was still vigilant in his heart. He said, "We already agreed that we will only bring you guys here, we won't go in. That Chunxiang's green dragon demon-slain broadsword and those techniques and treasures he has to restrain the evil spirits are very strong. I don't want to face a guy like him." "That's good. The 3 of us will go in. You just stay outside and watch. Just don't let them get away." He really wanted the Holy Spirit fire of the Red Dawn, and it was right in front of him now. Although Chunxiang and Long Shui were a threat, they felt that with their tens of thousands of years of cultivation, it wouldn't be difficult for them to catch the Red Dawn. The one who broke through the door was Eagle Emperor. Although the cave had a powerful array formation, the Eagle Emperor's claws just instantly shattered. Fox King and Super Holy School's leader immediately rushed in with Eagle Emperor following closely behind. The chance has come. Chunxiang's heart was in ecstasy. He anxiously crossed the space and arrived at the entrance of the cave. At the same time, he took out a small pagoda shining with holy light. This was the demon god suppressing pagoda. Chunxiang suddenly injected a surge of devil-suppressing magic power into the divine tower, causing it to immediately become extremely large. Following Chunxiang's control, the tower instantly pressed down towards Hellbat King. The Hellbat King reacted very quickly. He could sense the spatial ripples in the surroundings and immediately flew into the air. But Chunxiang's demon god suppressing pagoda was extremely powerful. Under the control of Chunxiang's spatial energy, the demon god suppressing pagoda instantly moved, passing through space, following Chunxiang's divine sense and chasing after the fleeing Hellbat King. He was especially afraid of Chunxiang. When he went to 9 Heaven World, he had long heard of Chunxiang's mighty name. As long as it was an evil demon, There was no one who wasn't afraid of the things that Xianxia had on him. You can't run away, haha. Xianxia laughed out loud. The demon god-suppressing pagoda generated a strong suction force that became as huge as a mountain, causing the Hellbat King and a large group of hell demon bats to be sucked in through the window. All of these things happened extremely quickly, and only now did the three people know when Xianxia had grabbed the Hellbat King. When they walked out of the cave, it was quiet outside. The horde of bats that had covered the moon and the stars had disappeared, and when the light of the stars and moon shone down, they would occasionally fly past one or two clouds, and the Hellbat King had also disappeared. In the blink of an eye, Hellbat King and the numerous hell demonic bats disappeared without a trace. Eagle Emperor and the others only felt that it was extremely strange. Through the remnant energy aura, they could clearly feel the strong devil-suppressing magic power. It was Xianxia who did it. This fellow is really cunning. What do we do now? Hellbat King was captured by him. Hell Devil Envoy will definitely laugh at us. The Fox Emperor's face was filled with anger. He had actually been tricked by Xianxia. Right now, their only gain was that they knew that Xianxia and Long Shui's strength were not very terrifying. They did not dare to face them, and only dared to secretly attack Hellbat King. After Xianxia used the demon god-slaying pagoda to capture Hellbat King and all the hell demon bats, he teleported far away. At this moment, he was hiding in a cave and laughing. The Hellbat King and the millions of hell devil bats are great tonics. They contain a lot of pure and strong blood. You can refine them into high-level blood cores. Long Shui laughed.